Our next 5 years strategy is basically guided by the 5 years National Development Plan, the Sustainable Development Goals, especially goal number 4 and 5, and also the Africa Agenda 2063. And it is very much informed by what we were able to achieve in the previous strategy that ended in December 2016, but also the education landscape, and again, the challenges that are facing the education sector. HakiElimu still maintain the overall goal of wanting to see that Tanzania becomes an open, just, and a democratic society with quality education for all. This has been the overarching goal for the previous strategy, and we still maintain that because it is still needed. So in order to achieve this goal, we have 3 major strategic outcomes, which one is we want to see improved education system that promote equity, inclusive, and effective learning. We want to see citizens who are informed, who are organized and engaged in critical problem solving, in monitoring governance, and the provision of quality education. We also want to see the government that is open and responsive. We want to see stakeholders that are responsive and accountable to provision of inclusive and quality education. Now, how do we want to achieve this? There are a couple of areas that we think actually we can offer contributions in order to achieve the 3 strategic outcomes that I mentioned, which eventually will lead us into achieving the strategy, the overall goal that we want to see in the next 5 years or so. In the area of improving education system, HakiElimu is committed to continue conducting researches in collaboration with the academic institutions. There are a number of academicians that actually have been working with us. And recently we have formed a partnership that is known as TANFIDE, Tanzania, Finland, and Denmark for Quality Education. So that brings together the institutions from the north, institutions from the Tanzania, and the civil society to try to work together, join efforts to promote quality education. So we will be working together in the area of research. But also we understand that there are partners and the stakeholders who have been actually working in the area of gender and also have dedicated their efforts in addressing the issues of violence against children in schools. We'll be joining hands with those to conduct researches that will continue informing us the situation and what needs to be done in order to address those challenges. We'll be continuing with our media campaign to promote gender-sensitive and safe schools through TV sports and TV programs and radio program. We'll be facilitating communities dialogue and a public forum on policy and discussions. We'll be campaigning for education philosophy. We will really need to work together with different stakeholders, either to clarify the philosophy of education. If not, then we need to make sure that actually we come up with the education philosophy that will guide our education sector. We'll monitor implementation of education training policy that was launched 2 years ago and other education programs for the purpose of identifying how the policy is being implemented, but also identifying the gaps and advising, challenging the government and the stakeholders on what to do in order to ensure that what is included in the policy, in the education policy, will be realized at a certain period of time. We will experiment and learn on what works in learning and teaching. I appreciate what the comment provided by Professor Mkumbo, that I think actually pointing fingers does not help, but also if we are pointing fingers to different people who have a stake in education, but also we should be able to demonstrate that these strategies can work if they are seriously implemented. So in that regard, we have decided that in the next 5 years, We will identify 127 schools. Those will be our program and model schools. We will work with them. We will connect them with different education stakeholders to try to experiment what we believe can help them to improve the provision of quality education. So with that, actually, we can demonstrate and to different stakeholders, including the government, that if you try these approaches, then you'll end up having positive results. We understand that involvement of citizens is very important, but they can have meaningful involvement if they're informed, if they're organized, if they can engage effectively. We will facilitate Friends of Education to effectively monitor school governance and accountability. We will facilitate Friends to monitor education financing through SAMs and public expenditure tracking surveys. We will facilitate public dialogues at local level on gender and violence against children in schools. We will facilitate Friends to monitor and report on gender-based and violence against children issues at school level. We will disseminate simplified policies, circulars, and guidelines to the Friends of Education and citizens in order for them to be aware of the strategies of the policies and be able to participate effectively and even to hold duty bearers to account. We also want to see the government, as I said earlier, and stakeholders responding to issues of education and being accountable to provide inclusive quality education. In collaboration with the media, we will have a campaign to promote transparency and accountability. We will document and monitor government promises, especially on the education sector. We'll conduct and publish open budget surveys. We will work with oversight bodies to promote transparency and accountability. And also, we'll monitor education financing through budgets analysis and public expenditure tracking surveys at central level and also at local level. I remember Dr. Cataballo mentioned that actually the education sector budget has grown to 22%. I think actually we need to commend the government, but if you factor out the servicing of the national debt, it comes down to 17%. So we haven't reached the recommended level of financing for education sector. If you could remember the international declarations, I think in the Incheon declaration, countries have been requested to invest at least 20% of their national budget in the education sector. We haven't reached there. But also there's a crisis, there's a big mismatch between the development budget and also the current budget. So we are glad this year that for the first time, I think there has been significant increase in the budget allocation for the development part. I think it has reached 40%. So we would like that to be maintained and even to grow a bit higher. We will also conduct a right to education index, because education is a right for every child. We want to see how this right is being accessed by every child of this nation. We have our theory of change, which actually shows the 3 strategic areas that we will be focusing on: promotion of citizen participation, working to influence policy change, and promoting transparency and accountability. So we have boundary partners. We will strengthen our partnership with different partners and stakeholders in order to realize our vision, our ambitions to build a nation that is open, just, and a democratic society with quality education for all.